Hey there, Postal here. Today we are going to take a look at a Tier 8 light fighter plane, the I-250. This particular plane is, well, it's not talked about very much, and I wanted to kind of see why would that be. Let's take a look. Alright, so I came to the conclusion while trying to produce a review video for this particular plane that there's not a lot of strengths on this particular plane. It really is hamstrung by its abilities. Its maneuverability is very, very poor. And unfortunately, there's not a lot that is balancing out that terrible metric. For the light fighters, the P-51H is going... Whoop, I don't want to actually get into it. The P-51H is going to be the only thing that's even reasonably close to it as far as maneuverability is concerned. And you can see here it technically has 4 points better, but the actual turn time, 11 seconds, that's really quite bad for a light fighter anyway. We can take a look at any of the other planes in my garage here. The ME-209, which isn't known for its maneuverability, has 10.4 seconds. I'm not even going to look at the Spitfire or the Yak-15. We know that they've got much better maneuverability. The Key 94-2, that has better maneuverability, of course, and is a high altitude fighter. So you would think, being a high altitude fighter, at least compared to the other Tier 8s, that you'd have some sort of balance to that. The airspeed is on the high end, but it's not. You're not going to be blowing anybody away as far as your speed is concerned. And so I've kind of hit a wall when it comes to the I-250. It's not a terrible plane by any means, but it's just really outclassed by a lot of other planes out there. And unlike some other planes that are out there, I don't really find any redeeming qualities about the gun. The gun is what you may have noticed as far as the gun armament is concerned. It's supposedly the good thing about this particular plane. The Spitfire has the same rating, but the Yak, the ME, I have to double check the key. The key is probably right around the same amount, to be honest. But so it's supposed to be. The gun is supposed to be. The guns are what's leading this particular plane. Well, let's take a look at those guns then, shall we? You have two 23 mils. They're the same 23s that you'll get on the lag line, the LAs, the Lavochkins, and so they're pretty strong, but there's only two of them. You do get a 37 mil in the hub. It is the second from the top on the Yak-9U, but it's a pretty poor gun. It's 2,000 range. It hits pretty hard when it hits, but you've got to get really close, and you've got really poor maneuverability. So you kind of run into the same issue that you might run into with like a 262 that has really strong guns but really poor maneuverability. If you don't hit them to begin with, you're going to be in trouble. Unlike a 262, though, you can't really boost away from too much. You just don't have a lot of boost in seconds. I have this particular plane set up to have an additional engine cooling, but even with that, it feels like it's lacking from time to time. Let's take a look at how I have the plane actually set up. Now, because it has such poor maneuverability, I set it up, tried to boost the maneuverability. It didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. I was still running into bat wings, J7W1s, things of that nature that could outturn me, and almost every light fighter out there was still outturning me at that point, except for maybe the P-51H. And in reality, if you're flying a P-51H, you're going to be zooming past anything that you're fighting, and you're not going to really be dogfighting too much. you play this very similar to a P-51H, but it just feels like it's lacking in those areas where you don't want it to be lacking. You'd think, okay, great, you don't have great maneuverability, you got downright bad maneuverability, let's have a lot of airspeed. And the airspeed just doesn't feel like it sticks with this plane, or it bleeds that airspeed. Where a Mustang will get to the same speed, it feels like it takes forever for it to lose that airspeed. This I-250 tends to lose the airspeed pretty quickly. So what I did is I set up the plane to have some polished skin to help my cruise speed, to help my acceleration, and I also got the acceleration without boost and cruise speed improved with the uprated engine. And even with that, it's still a little lackluster, right? Of course, I've got my first aid kit here. I've got the cooling that I already talked about. One thing I did place on this after much experimentation was the pneumatic control assist. The wings, if there's anything nice to be said about this plane, I mean, there's a decent amount of nice things to say, but one thing that is pretty nice about it is it doesn't tend to lose its wings or tail very often. So rather than having emergency control system, I decided to go with pneumatic control assist. And that way, this will get me out of trouble if it's a bat wing, or even some of the, like an ME-209, things of that nature. I can outmaneuver for just long enough to get behind them and hit them with that 37. This will not save me from a specialized bat wing. I've tried, and it won't save me from specialized ME-209s or Spitfires, obviously. In that kind of situation, you need to have your engine cooling set. So, again, I haven't had the worst luck with this plane. I've been getting a decent amount of wins, but I don't feel like I'm able to have the impact that I want to have. The gun hits hard when it does hit, but again, I'd rather just have an ME-209 at the end of the day. And so it's been kind of frustrating to come to that conclusion. I try to you know, have everybody have like, oh, you know, every plane has the potential to be the best plane at that tier. Sorry, I-250, I don't feel that way about you. I've had a bunch of mediocre games, 10,000 to 12,000 personal point games. The game we're going to be watching today is, in my opinion, relatively boring, but it shows you what the fit of this plane is, and that's taking down everything that's heavier hit point pool than it really. So it's good at taking down multi-rolls. It's good at taking down heavy planes too, if it can hit them and catch them. And it's good at taking down bombers as long as the bombers don't melt you with your small amount of hit points. You only have 320 hit points, so at tier 8 that can melt pretty quickly. So let's take a look at the video, and I'll be right back. So here we go in our I-250, and yeah, so to me it even looks like an ME-209A. I mean, not perfectly obviously, but having the cockpit further along in the back, yada yada yada. Something I haven't mentioned in the garage, something that really stands out about this plane, it's actually a hybrid. You may notice out the back there's that exhaust. When I first had the plane, I assumed it was some sort of cool exhaust system for the standard propeller plane. It's actually a jet inside there. And you know, it does offer the ability to when you go from standard speed to a boosted top speed, it gets that top speed very quickly. Again, the problem is it just kind of bleeds the speed very quickly. So you might be able to get up to 450 miles an hour, but the next thing you know, you're back down to 320. So in this particular game, you're going to see you know, it in its best environment. Really what we're going to be doing here is defending quite a bit. As long as all you have to do is defend and defend against unmaneuverable planes, you'll be fine. I'm not even sure I run into you know, a comparable light fighter that I have to dogfight. We're going to see. It's been a while. Alright, so we see that the bombers are coming in. We want to go ahead and I'm kind of splitting the difference. So I see the bombers coming in, but I also want to head over to the airbase here. And we've got some multi-rolls that we can definitely take out. There we go, got him. When it comes to these guns, I find it most effective to wait till right after 2,000 feet, so about 2,200 feet or so. So your 23s will start hitting, but your 37 isn't quite yet, but it's getting to the range. And by the time you get a little bit closer, your 37 will start hitting pretty hard. So you see we do a quick flip there, and we get back on this ME. So we can stick with an ME, at least for a little while. Matters if he's timed his boost. But you can see here we're just trying to get our 37 to hit. Gotta aim out far enough. It's a rather slow projectile. And looks like we got something on us. Yep, we got that F-94D. So again, another plane that we can actually stick with. And so we are able to stick with him, we just need to hit him, right? A little bit further out, Postal. Good job. Okay, so now I'm just trying again, just trying to get the sector flipped. And we're not having to deal with, actual light fighters at this point. We're just dealing with those multi-rolls. And as soon as we have to deal with a light fighter, we get ourselves in some trouble. But luckily for us, a couple wiggles here. A P-80 is not the best maneuverable fighter, and so doing a quick move like that and it being a bot, I'm able to outmaneuver him. If that was a human, and I ran into a few of them, that kind of maneuver doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, but he obviously, that bot kind of gave up, so we'll take it. Alright, so we've taken this sector. We've got 4 sectors now as a team. At this point, I just wanted to defend. I figured I'd kind of go towards the center, see if we could help defend that, and kind of stay in between these 2 sectors and knock out the bombers. My thinking here is we need to knock this guy out quick. Those bat wings can be a real pain in the butt, and even though I'm at 9,000 feet, they still have the maneuverability to outduel me. We were lucky to take him out, and at this point I just want to hold on to our sectors. Obviously light fighters are built for that, at least in the game, and so I want to just really defend these 2 sectors. My thinking is we've got 4 of them right now. We should be, just by hanging on to these 2, win the game at this point, because we're going to get such a huge lead in capture points. And luckily for us, we just have multi-rolls coming in. And not even the bat wings. I don't know where the bat wings are going, but they're not coming over here to make my life hell. And so let's keep hitting what does come towards us. These kind of planes I can stick with. These kind of planes are the ones that it really feels like this plane is built to destroy. We've got a light fighter coming in, but he's way up there. P-51A. Not A, obviously. But Mustangs, can be a huge pain in the butt. Bots, not so much, but in general, they've got everything to stick with you. You can outrun a Batwing. You can't outrun a Mustang or an ME-209. Gun's overheating. But he's in that optimal range, right? 1,500 to 2,000 feet is great. It allows you to maneuver with them a little bit. It also has all 3 of your guns hitting. I'm diving down a little bit here because I want to make sure that TL doesn't get me. He's not paying attention at all. And so we're going to turn back around. So I'm not even going towards the middle garrison. Like, the game's going to be over really quickly anyway. So let's just stay over here and keep defending. Trying to get some decent chevrons. And we are doing that. Now we've got a P-51 down below. Let's kind of just dive down on him. And this plane is good at doing the dive down. When you can get those 37 mils on target, it's really, really nice. It's just trying to get them on target sometimes. More often than not, actually. I thought that was a freaking P-51, was it? Wow, I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. Alright, so we've got another multi-roll. Again, this is just a multi-roll killer. We haven't even had to run into a lot of heavies. But it's pretty good against heavies as well, especially tier 7 ones. It has the speed to stick with those 262 and some of those tier 8 heavies. Even a pancake, it doesn't always have the ability to stick with. XP58 can be a real pain in the butt. So. Alright, so I know the game's basically over. I was seeing if maybe I could get some more hits, but knew that it was over. So there we go. So pretty good game, right? Actually, I should say a very good game. Was able to get the grade 1 and the Akamatsu. Let's head back. Okay, so we're back at the hangar. 14,000 plus, grade 1. I mean, pretty darn good game, right? One of my best in this particular plane. Definitely the best that I've actually recorded. And, you know, it's not a terrible plane, but you need all the right things coming together. Okay, and that is the I-250 in a nutshell. Really, you want to utilize this plane as a heavy hit pool melter, if that makes sense. Most multi-rolls it can stick with. There's going to be a handful of them that are more maneuverable, like the J7, like the Batwing. None of the heavies are going to be able to outmaneuver it, so that's a good thing. And with the 37 mil, as long as you can stick close to them, you'll be able to pretty well knock them down. What this plane is not, though, is a dogfighter. You do not want to get into a dogfighting battle with any other light fighter in the game, really. I mean, even an I-220 feels like it can outmaneuver you. And so that really just kind of sets you up for this particular plane and its gameplay. I don't see any reason to keep it. Like I said, if I want to take out this type of fighter, I'll take out an ME-209. Yeah, the gun armament is, you know, quote unquote worse, but you've got that 30 mil cannon on it. So yeah, it's not 37 mil, but I'll take it. And the biggest difference between these two planes is the range of these particular guns. You've got an extra at least 500 feet on the I guess the 20 mils are about the same, about 100 feet, but the 30 mil can go out to 3,200 feet for the quote-unquote optimum distance. I can catch people out at about 3,800 feet and still get some hits. It's a huge difference. Even if you're just talking optimal, that's 1,200 feet difference. That's an extra 50%. And you've got better maneuverability. And you've got better altitude performance. The airspeed is negligible as far as the difference is concerned. So I don't see any reason to keep the I-250. Yeah, so I hate to be a downer when it comes to this particular plane. Again, I'm enjoying it. I'm not having terrible games by any means, and I don't feel like this plane is like the ridiculousness that the I-210 was at tier 6. It's just not. There's just so much better options out there. There's no reason to keep it. So hopefully I won't have to. Whoop, hello, wrong button. I won't have to be on this line too much longer. I mean, this plane too much longer. I've got about let's see here, 35,000 more till I've got the MiG-9, and we'll go from there. I've also grinding down the LA line, and so that line's been an absolute pleasure the whole way. This line has been hit or miss. It's like every odd one's good, and then every even one so far has been kind of poor. Well, I take that back. Again, it's not a poor plane. It's just not everything I want it to be. So maybe it's really on me. Maybe I should sit down and self-actualize and think about things from my impact and how I can make it better. No, stop, shut up. This plane, I'll take something else. Once I'm done with it, I'll get the, 1 million silverback from selling it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Did you enjoy this plane? Are you going down this line? Was it one of the planes that you free XP'd past? Or was it just a plane you kind of grinded through like I'm grinding through? Have you kept it? Am I completely freaking wrong here? I've been wrong before, so I'll take any advice that anybody's doing. Again, I'm not doing poorly. I'm just not enjoying it. So anyway, thank you for taking my rambling here, and I will catch you next time.